Welcome back, channel. So today we are going to jump into this. Got it back from the machine shop. So let's go ahead and start hooking up all these parts into this head. Alright, stay tuned. So I got the head back to the machine shop. I'm going to go ahead and do all the rest of the recording from here on out on the GoPro. So enjoy, and I'm going to walk you guys through on how to hook up the springs, valves, and seats, and stuff like that. So enjoy, and hopefully this helps you guys out. Alright, the tools I'm going to be using are these ones, which basically hooks up so you can compress the springs down. And of course a ratchet, socket, and this tool right here from 4Pistons to put the valve seals on. And then some Allen keys and some oil and all the parts. Alright, so let's jump into this right now. Alright, so the first thing you're going to do is you're going to grab your seats, which is included in your Super Tech kit or whatever. The seats are going to be the first thing that goes down. And you're basically just going to slide it over the valve guide, and you're going to place them on every single one on here. So go ahead and do that. Take your seats, start putting all your seats down. And then after that, we'll jump into the next step. By the way, these are all brand new valve guides for exhaust and intake side. Because like I said, I broke 2 valve guides on the exhaust side that were broke and 2 bent valves. So yeah, so anyways, drop all those seats in. Alright, now that all the valve seats are in, now we're going to go ahead and moving on to doing the valve seals, which are these. It says right here it has a 5E, that's your exhaust. They're usually blue. And then the 5I is usually your intake, which are usually brown. So next we're going to go ahead and take the where are they at? The valves, and we're going to slide them up from the bottom through the valve guides, and then we're going to go ahead and slip those seals over these right here. And that's when you're going to use this tool, and I will show you in a second on how to use it. You don't have to go out and buy this 4Pistons tool. It makes stuff a lot easier. I guess you can use a 10mm to push those down, but this just makes it that much easier. But when you are doing springs, you do have to have this tool to compress those springs. So if you're going to be doing this yourself, do invest in this tool. I will leave links in the description below for these tools on where to get them. So yeah, so let's go ahead and I'll get the valves out and I'll start pushing these valves through here. Or I'll push one through here and show you what I'm doing with the one. And then I'll just go ahead and drop them all in. And then we'll move on to the next step. Now I am working on the intake side, which is this side. So I'm going to go ahead to my valves. Most of the valves, no matter what set you get, will say either exhaust or intake. So I'm going to grab these valves and I'm going to go ahead and start sliding one up and show you guys on how to do the valve seals. Just remember to not get those mixed up or you're going to be in big trouble. But anyways, so let's go ahead and put these seals and valves in. I am going to go ahead and dip this in some oil. It's just normal 5W30 oil, whatever oil you want to use. That way it just makes it that much easier to slide this valve through that guide. Just makes it, you know, a little bit more slippery. So I'll go ahead and dip it, slide it up, and I'll show you how to put the valve seal on. Alright, so as you can see, the valve is pushed up through the guide. So now I'm going to show you guys how to hook up these valve seals. So we are looking for, that's exhaust. Remember, your brown ones are going to be your intake. So I'm going to go ahead and pull one of these out. Oop. And then I will go ahead and slide. I'll probably take a little bit of the oil and put a, oh shit, sorry focus, put a little bit of oil in there just to make it easier for sliding down on that guide. So let me go ahead and grab a little bit of oil and put it on there. Alright, so I put a little bit of oil and I pushed it down. It's not all the way seated yet. I just pushed it down until it stopped on the guide. Now I'm going to take that tool right here and I'm going to slide it over the valve, or the valve. And then basically, let me show you real quick. Basically, this part right here will sit, oh shit, sorry. This part right here will sit in there like that, and when you go to push it, it just makes it that much easier to push these on there. And I'll go ahead and show you guys that. So yeah, so I'm gonna go ahead and put this on there and then go ahead and push it down. Alright, so as you've seen, I pushed it down, and as you can tell, you just push it to where it don't go no more, and then you're set. So that's pretty much it. See how it's got those grooves right there on that back valve guide? You're basically pushing that down to where it won't go no more. So that's it. That's how you put the valve seals on. So I'll go ahead and start pushing all these in, and then come over to the exhaust side and start doing those. Pretty easy. Alright, so I got all the valves in, so now time to put the valve seals on. Still working on the intake side, so I will go ahead and show you that once I get all these put on. Alright, so all the seals are on. So I'm going to go ahead and put the springs on and retainers on these sets right here, because pretty much doing this one is the same thing for all of them. So, and it's the same thing with the seals, same thing on that side, doing the same thing. So I'll go ahead and hook this tool up, show you guys how to hook this up, and press these springs down and put on these retainers. So I'll go ahead and do that right now. So there's the tool hooked up. You're basically going to put these two bolts in. Basically they're going to be going like right there to hook them up. And then you're going to use this one, which has a little rounded point on the bottom, and that's what you're going to go through the top right here, like so. And then you'll have your cup, and at the top of your cup you'll see the groove. That's where that's going to sit in, and then basically that's going to push down your spring. So I'll go ahead and set up a spring and retainer, and yeah, spring and retainers on here, and then we'll go and we'll start using this tool to compress it down. Alright, so I got SuperTech dual 91-pound springs. Those are the titanium retainers or seats, and here's the other piece. So basically that'll sit on top, and then we'll put the keepers, these keepers, in there, and I'll show you how to do that, and then we'll go ahead and start compressing this. Now note to self that when you are having these valves, you want to have either a towel underneath to have these valves push up, because as you start compressing this down, it's going to push those valves down too. So you don't want those valves to push down, you want those valves to stay up. So I'm going to go ahead and stick this towel underneath there so that they don't drop down. So let me go ahead and start setting this all up. Alright, so you're going to go ahead and set this top part up here, and then these are the retainers. Basically you see it's got a groove right there. That groove is basically going to sit right in that groove of the valve. That's how it locked. That's what the keepers lock into the valves. So when too close. So when you're putting in these keepers, you're basically just gonna drop them in. I'll show you. So basically it looks like that. You want the lock part, the groove part, to be up. So you want this groove part to be up top and the other part to go down, so that when you drop these in, I'll show you. When you drop these in like that, they sit like that. You want the groove part up higher so that it sits onto that groove on the valve. And then I'll go ahead and drop the other one in, groove side up. Basically, that's what you're looking for. So go ahead and set those in. And I'm gonna go ahead and take this and then drop that spring onto there, and then we'll start compressing this down, and then we'll see how we do. So that's basically how you want it to be. You see how that focus, see how the bolt is touching on top of the coupler, this cup thing right here, and then the cup thing sits on the spring. And then as you start turning this, it's going to compress that spring. And as it compresses that spring, these keepers are going to want to push up a little bit. So as you're compressing it, you want to put your finger down on these retainers and start pushing down as you're pushing down on the spring. And then eventually those will lock into those valves, and then that's pretty much it. So let me go ahead and mess with this and see what happens. I almost forgot, so I got to take this towel and set underneath those valves. That way those valves don't push, drop down. Alright, so I did one. As you can see, those retainers are below that little lip on the valve. That's how it's locked in. So right now it's really locked in. So I'll go ahead, I got the idea of how to do it, so I'll go ahead and film this one being done. Once you get the feeling of it, it's pretty easy. So I'll go ahead and film me doing this one to show you guys how it's done. Alright, hopefully it's not too blinding, but let's go ahead and do it. As you can see, I don't know if you can see it, but you can see the valve is kind of centered with those retainers. So I'm going to go ahead and put my finger there and then start bringing the bolt down onto it. So with just a little bit of pressure, you can see, I don't know if you can see it, but with just a little bit of pressure, those retainers are just about to slip over it. So I'll go ahead and start going down. As you see, it's starting to compress it. Hopefully you guys are getting a good picture of this. Those retainers are starting to come up. So I'm going to take my finger, push down a little bit as I'm going down. And just take your time. And I can see that this back retainer is starting to come up a little bit. So I'm going to keep going down. So I can see this front one now is starting to get. I'll keep compressing it. Shit, sorry guys. My tripod sucks. So I'll keep compressing it. Hopefully I can get this retainer to go back down. So there we go. So as you can tell, whoop, that retainer popped out, as you can see it right here. So I'll just go ahead, get this magnet. And then I'll go ahead and slide it back in there if I can. It's kind of a pain in the ass. I said it's a little tricky, but you just gotta take your time. These little things just don't want to sit in there too good. So just gotta fucking finagle it, I guess. Oh shit, sorry. So, as you can see, that front retainer is not seated too good. So I'm going to keep going down. The back one's doing great. Let's get this front one. See, I kind of pushed it down. This screwdriver right here comes with this kit, so it really comes in handy. So I kind of pushed that one down. So right now, that retainer is locked on that valve lip. This back one, as I start to release pressure, will eventually lock on that lip. So let's go ahead and try it out and see what happens as I back it out. See, as I start to back it out, that back retainer starts to come up, and the other one that's in front is not moving. It's staying on that lip of that valve. As it keeps coming up, those retainers are staying. Boom, just like that. So you just gotta get this down, compress that spring far enough to where you can push those retainers onto that lip of the valve. And then once you do that, it pretty much locks in place. So when you go ahead and take this cup off, and you go look at it, put some pressure on it, it's not coming off. So that's pretty much how you do it. Every single one you're going to do like that. I am going to go ahead and start doing them all, and then after I get them all on, I will show you a little quick double check on how to double check these to make sure that these retainers are locked in there pretty good. So I'm going to go ahead and stop now, and I'm going to go ahead and work on all the rest of the springs, and then I will come back to you guys when they're all on. Oh yeah, plus I still got to get all these back, do all the back exhaust side stuff too. So I'm gonna go ahead and start working on this off camera, and then once I get all these done, I'll jump back into it, and if I get any tips, I'll stop and tell you the tips. All right. So once I get the two that I done off these two, I'm gonna go ahead and take this tool off. I'm gonna put this hand right here, and this hand's gonna go right here, and I can work on the next two, and you just keep doing that over and over as you finish everything. Pretty easy. I did forget to mention, this tool is good for the K20 head, the K20 head, the F20 head, and the F22C head. So this tool is good for those heads. I know they make a different one for the B series, but yeah, just to give you the guys. So go ahead and check the description below, show you where you get this tool at. Alright, so intake side is all done. Now what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take this towel, because my rubber mallet is down at the shop and I don't want to walk down there. I am going to cover up one of these, and I'm going to take the hammer and give it a little pound. Basically you're checking to see if these retainers are in there hard enough, so that when you go to hit this spring with the hammer or mallet, you should hit it with the mallet. If these retainers don't pop out, then you're good. So I'll hold this over here, I'll give it a little pound, and we'll see what happens. So pretty much, if it didn't come out after that, it's not going to come out. I'll go ahead and check all these, and that's pretty much it. But yeah, you just want to double check all your retainers, make sure they're in good, by taking a rubber mallet and giving it a little hit on it. You don't have to beat the shit out of it, but give it a little hit. If those retainers stay there, you're pretty much locked and loaded and good to go, and you won't have to worry about these retainers popping off. Now, if these retainers pop off, you're definitely going to drop a valve and you're going to fuck a lot of shit up. So go ahead and double check all these with a rubber mallet and make sure that they do not pop these retainers out, because you don't want one of these popping out when you're driving down the road, because you will drop a valve and that will be a complete engine build. You'll basically fuck up your pistons, you'll fuck up your you'll fuck a lot of shit up. So double check them. So these are intakes done. Now I'm gonna go move on and do everything I did on the intake side, on the exhaust side. Pretty much that's how you do it. It's pretty simple, pretty straightforward. Not too bad. I think the only thing I'm going to do in this video is change out this screen gasket thing right here, and that's it. So, all in all, just take your time with these retainers as you're pushing them down. You know, just as you're coming up easy, as you see in the video, you'll see them slide up and lock in, and, you know, double check them, triple check them if you have to, just to make sure you do not want any of these retainers popping out and dropping valves. But pretty much it's pretty easy job. If you have the right tools to do the job, then it makes this job a whole lot easier. So pretty straightforward. So pretty much what I showed you guys on this side is going to be the same thing on this side. I did notice when I used the towel underneath the valves, some of the towel got stuck when the valve shut, but just pull it away, it came out. There's nothing stuck in there, but it's good. If not, you can use a cardboard or whatever. But yeah, so that will probably conclude this video, because that's pretty much how you do that on these valve springs. Pretty easy, pretty straightforward. Not too hard of a job. If I could do it, you guys can do it. Just like I said, basically having the right tools, it makes the job so much easier. So yeah, that's going to conclude this video. So that's how you basically do springs, retainers, valve seals, seats, the whole head work. I will go ahead in my next video, I will drop putting the head on the block, and I'll show you guys how to do that, torque specs on the ARP head studs, and then I will eventually do a video on how to do all the timing stuff and stuff like that. So hopefully this helped you guys out. Like I said, it's pretty easy. If I can do it, this is probably my second time doing this, and it's really not that hard. It's just take your time, don't rush it, and you can do it. So it's pretty easy. So yeah, so on that, hope you liked the video. Like, subscribe, and KO down. I'll catch you on the next one.